Hey, welcome back to Mad Maddies and the First and Mad podcast. I'm Brad Michaels along with Floody. Jay Vegas is not here yet. Floody, how you doing?
Nice to see you back from your South Florida trip.
Man, what a trip it was, and we'll talk about that a little bit more as we get going on the show. But yeah, like I mentioned, or you mentioned, we're missing Jay Vegas is not here with us this week. He may pop in, but he's busy opening up a new casino.
He's opening up the new Durango station here in town, and I can't wait for it to open. I've been a regular at most of the stations in the local casino here in town. Although we're a mini casino here at 8100 West Sahara Boulevard. Come on down.
Yep. And I think we can actually flash that up on the screen. But I want to remind everybody that's watching right now, make sure that you like, share, and comment during the show so that we can see what's going on. And we'll try and talk to you. And of course, if you want to come down some Thursday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, come on down, sit out here in the audience and watch the show. You can even come up and ask a question or two. So
get a bite to eat. And we always have all the games on live and everything else. So we're looking good.
Every game you ever want to see.
Yes, sir.
Every game you ever want to see. So I'm going to ask you a quick question before we get into the show tonight.
Right.
What, in your opinion, stood out? We haven't been on a show in 2 weeks.
Well, first of all, let me ask you, did you have a good Thanksgiving?
Yes and no.
Oh.
Because I woke up Friday. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
But I broke down. The van actually broke down on Thanksgiving Day in none other than, get this. You ready for this one? Quanah, Texas. About an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours northeast of Dallas. Stopped in to get some gas. I come back out. I go, I mean, it's not turned on. There's not even, I don't even have accessory lights. No, nothing.
And you just driven what?
Oh, from Fort Lauderdale. So half of my trip
Are you telling me you went Lauderdale to this spot?
with no problem. No. I had to fill up
So
several
the last
times.
time you stopped was roughly probably
I got up that morning in Dallas.
and
Yeah.
And go to gas up and
Nothing.
oh,
It was a very, very loose ground wire, what the mechanic told me. And Diego, hey, I told you, buddy, you hooked me up. You got me going again. I spent Thursday night in the Best Western Hotel in Quanah. The Dolphins played at 2:00 Central Time on Friday. So I got the hotel again
it's the Jets.
against the Jets. I stayed
very good.
very, very
That's
good.
where you want to be.
So I stayed there 2 nights, Thursday night and Friday night. And then I got back on the road on Saturday. And you saw me when I got back here on Sunday.
Yeah, Chinese zombie over here. I was like, oh,
I was tired.
another drink.
I was tired. But it was a good trip. The van ran good other than that little problem. I've won some money since I got back here. So it's helped
Nice.
pay for what I spent. And the van is running just perfectly now. I just got to go get it washed.
Oh,
So-
right on. Yeah, there's a few bucks out there. Travels over here and everything else. Brother just walked in the door. Oh, the system.
So we have a special guest joining us tonight because Jesse couldn't be here. Surprise! Please welcome to the show, Angel. She is our favorite waitress right here at Mad
Thank you.
Maddie's. She's also a fan of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
You guys have a
Mhm.
bet coming up in
We do,
Next
but
Thursday?
he still
Another week or
won't
so?
tell me his end of the bet. And I told him mine a month ago. So I'm like, okay, what's going on here?
I noticed Flood's wearing his colors tonight, though.
I support my colors. I was a Patriot fan when they were 1-15. We won 6 Super Bowls. You're lucky to have.
Oh, we won 6 Super Bowls first, but I
Well, that's good because
support
they'll be about 2-15 this year.
How about
I support people that support their team. I do that too. No matter how bad my team's doing, I support them. So
Well, that's what you're supposed to do.
and actually my bet is that he can't say that anymore. When we
Is
beat
that
the
that's
Patriots.
your portion of the
And
bet? We still
every
don't know his
time he
portion.
messes up and says it, he has to give me $20. He could go bankrupt.
All right, I tell you what, guys, let's get into this week's show. Let's start talking about the topics. I think these topics, we haven't been here since the week before Thanksgiving is our last show. A lot has happened in the National Football League in these 2 weeks.
Yes.
I want to start out, though. The Panthers fired Frank Reich after starting 1-10. Buddy, do you think that was warranted, or do you think David Tepper is just like a little bit too much on the gas as far as firing head coaches?
I think it was probably a 50-50 shot. To be honest with you. Frank hasn't done anything. They have a little bit of talent, but not games or anything else, and probably just looking for a change. I hate to see it come right in the middle of the season. But
Yeah.
it did.
And this is twice now that we've lost a coach in the middle of the season. The Raiders firing Josh McDaniels, and now he's still getting paid. Well, I'm sure Frank Reich is probably still getting paid too.
Yep.
But it's, you're starting to see this more often, and you're also seeing the Steelers for the first time. Okay, fired Matt
Yes.
Canada.
And it was a very
And that's
good
the first
decision.
time since
I
what,
think
1941 that the Steelers have made an in-season
they're-
firing
yes.
on their staff.
They don't do
That's-
stuff like that. They hold out no matter
They
what's
wait
going
till
on.
after
So
the
I mean,
season, and then they make their changes, and it's
I think they listen to the fans. The fans have been very upset for months. And so I think they finally were like, okay, let's listen to the fans, give them what they want.
Do you think, though, that is a new precedent in the National Football League where, I mean, some of these owners, you got to remember, these owners now, it's not like the Rooney family. It's not like the Sullivans. It's not like Joe Robbie in Miami. It's not like these old families that owned these teams. You have these billionaires. They come in now and they have their own success in the industries in which they made their money. They buy these toys, if you will. They don't know anything about the football side of it or how a team is actually run, but they expect results right away.
That's a problem. That's
It is a
a problem right now, and I hope that most of them take a step back a little bit. They all want to see instant wins, instant teams going to the playoffs, instant
Right.
Super Bowls, and
Yeah,
everything.
instant
It doesn't happen.
gratification.
It
And the
doesn't
fan
happen.
base
Right,
is one
right.
thing, because I know the fans are always wanting you to win a Super Bowl every year. It's not going to happen. Do you think some of these owners are really listening too much to the fan base and going, well, I'm going to give you what you're paying
Yep.
for?
Yep, I agree. They are, and that seems to be a problem a little bit. You have to step back and just take a look, evaluate your team, your coaching staff, and what talent you have on the field, and realize, hey, 2-9 Patriots. I'll use you both as an example
You
right
can't
now.
lay that all on
and
the
sit
coach.
there. No, you can't.
Like you can't do that. That's
And-
not
Well,
right.
their roster, you look
Yeah.
at their rosters, no
horrible,
talent. The talent
horrible.
is-
There's
is
no
not there.
talent, and we keep going back and forth on it. And as far as answering some of those questions for Bill, I think he'll resign when he's ready to resign. Until then, shut the fucker up and start smoking pot
Yeah.
or something. I don't know what you're doing out there, you people. Even those owners, it's legal here in our
I think it's sad that Bill Belichick will probably end up retiring as like with a bad team, like not with like a
Well,
good record.
Well, that's and you said though,
like this with them rings, sister,
We have
tying
six.
them up,
Hey,
brother.
hey, the Pittsburgh Steelers have 6.
Yeah,
Steeler
you tied
Nation,
us.
I'm
You
here.
tied us.
No, we have
I
our
think we have a
first.
better chance to get one than you do.
who got the
Come
one
on.
for the thumb first?
us.
I wasn't born
Look
yet.
at him.
Were you?
Oh, you wasn't
No.
born yet.
Hey, Roman, were you, brother? That was in the early 50s or something.
That was when we beat Seattle, actually, and when we won against Seattle in the Super Bowl,
That'd
I
be
think
like
was
remember
the
that
one
one or
for the
two I
thumb.
might remember.
And
Yeah.
Arizona was number 6.
Uh,
Yeah, I know my
I
football
don't know
facts,
those
buddy.
other 4.
And I
Those
hate
are
to say it,
around.
both of those games you should have lost.
Wait.
Yes, you should have. Should have.
You know what I say? Haters
Especially
are
the
gonna
one-
hate.
Especially the
Lucky.
Seattle game, and then you had Roethlisberger had the drive for the ages in that game against Arizona. I think it was the first
Okay,
year
so
I had moved out here to Las
Bettis'
Vegas.
100-yard run back. I mean, that is
Yeah.
amazing. I still watch replays of that today. I'm like, just it like gives me goosebumps. when I
Speaking of
watch it.
100-yard run backs, I gotta give Javon Holland. I'm telling you, buddy, nice 99-yard interception return on Friday against the Jets. What a game! But you know what? All right, This is a graphic picture, so I'm going to warn everybody. Dolphin fans and most NFL fans have seen this. Did you see the chunk out of Tua's
I just
arm
saw it today.
on
It's
Friday?
disgusting. It's very disgusting.
Have we thrown that up, or do we don't have that graphic? It's not showing up. Okay.
YouTube has it.
It's like a huge chunk. Like it ruined his tattoo, let alone it's
All you
like
gotta do
a
is
huge
just
chunk out
download
of
it. I
his
think you
arm.
can do it from inside the show on the banners. Just go add it, and then we'll add it later. But did you see that?
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's got to go have his once he's healed in about 4 months from this gouge.
like
in his
an
arm,
animal
He's gonna go he's
attacked
gonna have to
him.
go to his tattoo artist. And go, "Can you patch
Yeah,
this
that's
up
what
for
I
me?"
was thinking of. But that's the first thing that came to mind when I saw
It was
that.
so
I'm like,
gnarly. You could see white fiber. From the, okay, we got
Oh,
it
wait,
up.
he
All
had
right, we
it.
got it up. We're gonna show it to you. Cover your eyes if you're squeamish, because this was bad.
We'll save it for a little later date. We'll put it on the menu for
you know?
Go eat
Special.
really rare prime rib and take a look at that picture.
I love rare prime rib.
I do
Me
too.
too.
It's the best. It's the only way to do it.
Ooh,
You remember?
Tiger there.
You remember the movie Tucker, the Man in His Machine?
yes.
When they showed him showing all the videos to
Killing me.
Congress. All right,
Too
let's
much.
move this along. Let's go to. I'm going to go back to some other coaching changes, and we've already had the 2 coaching changes that we have now.
Right.
Replacements. We're talking about Jim Harbaugh. Problems in Michigan. I know he wants to come back into the National Football League. Do you think? I know his dream job, supposedly what they say, is the Bears, but the Raiders are up on the radar. Where do you think Harbaugh lands if he comes back to the NFL? You think he lands with Chicago, or does he land with Las Vegas?
You want to answer that there, Smarty?
Okay, well, I think anywhere he lands, he's going to have problems because he seems like his team seems to have a problem with him wherever he lands. But I mean, I would normally say Raiders, but if Chicago is his dream job, I'd say that if there's any way he can get that he will go there if that's his dream place.
Well,
to
especially
land.
considering he played.
He
in Chicago.
played for the
Yeah.
and played for
So
the
I would
Bears.
say
And
that he'd go there.
watch out for our bull chop boy over here, Mr. Davis. I'm sure he's going to throw a chunk of change out there. See if you can entice him to come to Vegas, where everybody has a great time, right, Roman? Yeah, and if the money's right, that's where he's going to go. It's all about the almighty
Yeah, you're
Benjamins
right.
again.
But I'm also, I know it's about the Benjamins, but I'm also thinking, and somebody wrote an article, and it was very interesting to read this. Is Harbaugh going to want to go through the same situation that he had in
The
San
49ers.
Francisco,
Yeah.
where he didn't have full control? He was working for a general manager that did not hire him. Jed York had hired him, Jed York hadn't hired him. So he ends up with an owner didn't hire him, a general manager that didn't hire him, and it came down to personnel decisions. He wasn't involved, and that was part of.
And that's part
What led
of what's
to
going to
that.
be with the money and everything else in his contract. If he turns around and Mark Davis gives him full kind of reign to be able to be there,
He'd
or
be
have
here.
a guy in there, he'll be here with the money.
Right.
If Chicago decides to do that,
And Chicago has never done that.
no.
Chicago has
And I don't
never
see
given a coach
Chicago
full
really
control.
doing that. I don't.
So I think if you're looking from a control angle, if that's what he wants, which I'm pretty sure he's not going to want to go down that road like he had in San Francisco, he's going to want.
I just
full
think
control.
if he has enough money where he feels like doesn't need to think about that, if that's his childhood dream to go to Chicago, he's going to go there if money's not a factor.
He could go. Well, I don't think the money's not going to be a factor in
That's
Chicago.
his dream, to go
I
to
think it's going to be
Chicago.
roster
Like,
control.
who wants to go to Chicago? I mean, the food's great,
Well,
the sport's
he-
great,
Yeah.
and
not
the
me,
people
but
are great.
It's important to
But
him.
the winter
It would be
suck.
like me,
But the
being a
winter
coach.
is horrible. You got 364 days of winter and 1 day
Yeah,
of summer.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
who wants to live in that? So
I love the city like that. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
I think it's going to boil down for Harbaugh. I think it's really going to boil down to if somebody gives him control over the roster, and if we see the way that these NFL owners are going, where they don't give a coach full control, they want him to work with the GM. You're going to have to find somebody that Harbaugh is comfortable with
What
as a GM,
what
so they
does
can work
he
together.
do though if Michigan wins the national championship and goes 14-0?
Good question.
You know what I mean? Or 15
Very
and
good
0.
question.
What's he do? Oh my God, he's on top of the world. He's beaten Ohio State, which for years they couldn't beat Ohio State.
Couldn't beat
And
Ohio
now he's sitting there.
And that was the rub on Harbaugh. He can't beat Ohio State.
right
And now he's
he
beating
can.
them.
And he's sitting on the sidelines. He's not even coaching.
I know.
Well, maybe if he does beat them, then he'll be like, I did it. And now he'll go back to like the NFL.
You got to bring me back.
Yeah.
You ask me and find out about his childhood dreams and let me know next week.
I would love to be a coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Not get rid of your coach either. He's all
Mike
right.
Tomlin's not going anywhere.
He's
Got rid of
surprising
Canada.
me again
That was
with your
surprising.
defense is keeping you in games because you don't have much on offense, but your defense is
So we're
there.
7-4, and we're at the top of the wild card
Yep.
right now.
Yep, I got to give
We
credit
need
where
to
credit's
keep on-
due.
Thank
And if the
you.
season ended
my
today,
friend.
the Steelers would be in Miami
And
playing
I'm-
the Dolphins in the first round.
And I'm looking at a couple of those playoff teams. Just a couple of them lost to the Patriots. And who do you play next week? Oh, you don't want to lose that game.
Oh, I know.
For the
I'm
2-9
shaking my
Patriots.
boots over the
Who you got?
Patriots.
Oh,
and that's the
boy.
biggest thing about this time of the
Oh,
season. And
boy.
we've talked about
Watch
this.
out.
These are NFL teams. These are the top 7-8% of the players in the country
You
that
can
make it to
never
an
like
NFL
just
roster.
go into it confident, like because the team's
you
like
can't.
has a really bad record. Like, oh, it's an easy win.
And
No,
it becomes
it's
pride.
not. Every
It-
game
at
is
this
another
point,
game.
it
It
Yeah.
becomes
Easy
pride
next
for a
week.
team. For a team like New England, who's struggling at 2-9 this year, it's a
Love-
pride
love
thing
to be
to
spoiler.
knock somebody off and
Absolutely.
play that spoiler.
These guys all want to play that way. They all play
You change
hard.
their
You don't see-
seating, you knock them out of the playoffs,
Right.
whatever
They
you can
love
do.
that. And then on the other side of the coin, they're sitting there looking, do we want a number one draft pick? I think if New England gets it, Belichick turns around and he trades for other players as
You're gonna
moves
have to.
down the line.
You have to.
know,
You got to fill in that depth.
I'm
You gotta-
sure at 199 they found some guy named Brady, so I'm sure they'll find somebody else
Yeah.
if they're looking to get away from Mac Jones and Zappy over there and everything else.
Well, you got to look
But
at
they'll
it
look
that way.
somewhere down the line. I don't think they're gonna.
You're gonna
hold
have
everything to
rebuilding
the-
years, like just
Well,
like the
that's what we
Steelers
are.
have.
Oh,
That's
But
what we
we're
are.
7-4. But we're in rebuilding right now. I mean,
And there,
right?
there it comes
Like-
for you. Matt Jones, he's done in New England, right?
I got a feeling he is. I
What
got a
about
feeling he is, and Zappy might be too. You know,
And then who's the third guy? Greer.
Cripe, they might be bringing back Jim Plunkett. I don't know. I mean,
they could bring back Antonio Brown.
Yeah, like everybody's gonna want
Yeah.
Antonio Brown.
all right, enough of you on that one.
Cut her off.
He could get you back.
How many champagne do you have? tonight?
He
Come
was
on.
living in Tom Brady's compound, actually. Like, and
Tom Brady wanted him
really
down
helped
there.
him. Tom Brady really
And
helped
Tom
him
Brady
out,
helped
and he
him.
did.
And
Tom
Tom
Brady
Brady put
dirty.
a ring on his finger along with getting
Yeah.
Gronk out of retirement. a
And then
couple others.
Antonio
God
Brown
bless him.
turned around and stabbed Brady in the back. as
He's
soon as
like
he
a
could.
snake. Yeah.
He is. He's
That's awful.
Oh, go
very
back
bad.
to the Steelers.
Very bad. Well, you saw what he
Big
did out
team.
here in Las Vegas
He's
with
done
the
it
Raiders.
to
They
every
just-
team.
He does
Yeah.
not.
He's a buffoon.
He wants
He's
to have
a
his
hell
own
of a
helmet.
player, be a top
Yeah.
five wide receiver. He could have kept going on winning championships everywhere else.
Could
And
have.
instead,
He could've
he's a
done so
buffoon.
much. A waste.
$1 million wide receiver and a 5-cent head.
Let's talk about teams. Now we're talking about receivers. All right, let's talk about there's two teams in the National Football League right now, in my opinion, that could use a wide receiver. It's the Chiefs, right? And it's the Cleveland Browns.
Big
Both
time on
teams.
both.
Jarvis Landry. Okay. There's a lot of talk about should Cleveland bring Jarvis Landry back because he's unsigned. But then the Chiefs come into the mix. Do the Chiefs step up to the table and give Jarvis Landry a lot of money to come in and play for them?
Didn't he also play the Dolphins?
Yes, he did.
Yes,
he
he
started
did.
with the Dolphins.
And did he play for the Patriots?
No.
Are you sure?
When the Dolphins let him go, he signed with the Cleveland Browns.
Okay. I remember
as
being
a
with the
free agent,
Brownies.
and he is now currently. I don't think he
He's
played for the Patriots. He's
currently
currently
unemployed,
out.
right?
He's out. He's unemployed.
Well, truthfully, if I was him in his shoes, I know that the Brownies are trying to make a run and it looks kind of tough. I would probably go a little bit more towards Mr. Mahomes and Mr. Reed
Anybody would.
and get himself some bling bling in a championship.
Yeah.
But
I think he fits better there. I know that Cleveland could use him,
sure,
but who's going to throw it to him? You know,
that's a
you
good point. That's a
You've
real
lost
good point.
Deshaun Watson. Now you lost your backup. at least for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, that bothers me a little bit because I really do like the Brownies. Hi, Steph. And easy Schittsburg. And the problem is, I mean, Deshaun Watson, the shoulder was never right.
Any guy
But to lose a guy like Chubb with that kind of defense and everything else,
Well,
the
and lose
defense
him when
keeps
you
him and
did.
everything else.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
tough.
surprised they've made it as far as they have, considering you lost. Deshaun Watson didn't play for how many weeks with the shoulder
It's
before
starting
they
to show.
finally ruled
It's
him out?
starting now to show. Oh, who's coming out on them Giants? Come on now. Oh, excuse me. The 3-8 Giants or
Yeah.
the 4-9 Giants. They're right there with my Patriots. Come on.
But they keep winning some games that you just like you scratch your head. They're like, wait, the Giants just beat who?
Wow. Yeah, right.
And you wonder about it.
Close.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry about it, sister. When we need to get a win, it'll be
I'm
in
nice to you.
Schittsburg and everything else. See you, gentlemen. Thank you very much. There goes one of the best Buffalo Bills fans out there. And I'll tell you what, the Bills are another team. What are you going to do? Their expectations were supposed to be in the AFC Championship or be running towards, winning something. And,
well,
I don't even know if they
by
make
all
the
accounts, I
playoffs.
mean, everybody said that the Jets were going to give everybody a run in the AFC East if they had Rodgers. Rodgers goes down the first week. Then the Bills,
do we talk about Mr. Rogers and what's
Mr.
going
Rodgers
on
is
over
ready to
there?
come back and practice.
Mr. Rogers is saying no, he's been playing the Jets all along. So I mean, I saw a little something today that says
What? Really?
Rogers might have been playing them for a couple of bucks or whatever. That Jet defense is solid. The Bills, I'm wondering, are they going to make a run in the charge? Forget about the Patriots of that division. It's your Dolphins to have it to win. But you got to come around and beat some teams with winning records. And to look at the schedule I looked at the Bills a little bit. It's tough.
That's tough.
It's going to be tougher than to make a playoff.
It's easier for us, even though a couple of weeks ago they were saying that we had the second toughest remaining schedule. But really, if you look at us, I mean, you brought it up the Dolphins.
You guys do.
We have Washington this week. Then we're back home on next Monday night, not this coming Monday night, but the next Monday night against the Titans. Then we have the Jets again at home. Then we have the Cowboys. Here's the game. Here's the deciding game. Week 17 against Baltimore in Baltimore. And then we come back home for the final game against Buffalo.
So the last 3 games of your season, you're playing playoff contenders.
Dallas,
no doubt. And
Baltimore,
they're going to be looking to
Buffalo.
shift and move and everything else. Baltimore, of course, trying to win the AFC and be the number 1 seed over there, get a bye. Dallas still trying to catch Philadelphia. Going to be tough. And
that's going to be really tough.
We're watching them right now, and they're down. What's that say?
28 to 20
at home.
Wow.
All right. So that's.
And I was looking to see this happen tonight. And by the way, shout out to one of our patrons here, Bill. We got you.
Look at you, Bill.
He
Thanks
came up
for
to me
scoring me some
before the
points
game.
because
He said, I want you to be rooting for my my Seahawks.
I had over 47 and a half. I got to win.
You got it. There you go.
I got plenty of time left in this game.
Yeah, you got that one.
Yeah.
Unless they take some points off the game. It is the NFL.
And then and then you got Buffalo.
And we got Buffalo to finish the
trying
season.
to at least get in the playoffs the last game of the season. So
I think it comes down to the Dolphins for seeding in that last game.
I think you win the next 3, and the last 3 you're gonna be dogfights.
Yeah.
No pun intended there, Steph. The dog pound.
Well, I actually got to be honest with you, and Steph, this is a shout out to you. Is I'm glad we don't have to play Cleveland in this run to the playoffs.
And remember,
I'd rather meet them in the playoffs if that's where we end
you
up.
get a couple of those games at home where you get nice weather. Some of those other games, where's the Jets game?
It's at home. We just played the Jets.
Okay. So, if you have to go up and NFL tells you a lot of times warm weather teams don't do well in the
cold weather. And that's true. The Dolphins
and you
have
have Buffalo at home at the last game. So that's 2 good home ones. And you got to go to Dallas. It could get chilly in Dallas.
We got Dallas at home.
You got those.
We got Dallas in Miami.
Those 3 games at home. That's huge. You know what I mean? So you got to go to Washington. I think you can handle that team.
I'll tell you the thing that hurts
Tennessee,
us.
you can handle that.
Tennessee, we can handle, but here's the thing with the Dolphins, and I've seen this year after year. We lose games that we should win. And I know every team does that, but it's a pattern with the Dolphins. And it sucks because you want to talk about Aaron Rodgers the Jets losing Aaron Rodgers at MetLife Stadium on that turf in game 1, 4 plays into his season, tears his Achilles. The Dolphins just lost their best pass rusher for the season. Jalen Phillips tore his Achilles on Friday on that MetLife turf. That is a huge loss for them. They just signed JPP, Jason Pierre-Paul, off of the Saints practice roster to bring him in as some depth there for
that will
rush.
help. He has experience, whether he has game conditioning or not.
That's what I'm
That's
wondering.
gonna be
34
sitting
years
there.
old,
And the legs are tough. As you get older, they get tougher.
but he doesn't have to play at MetLife Stadium, so we don't have to worry about him tearing an Achilles.
There you go. All right. Well, we'll see when he gets in there. You know what I mean? He won't be an every down
No.
guy or anything
No.
else, but he is a hell of a pass
You're going to
rusher.
have Andrew Van Ginkel, Emmanuel Ogbah, and Bradley Chubb, and they'll bring in Jason Pierre-Paul. They'll bring him in, to spell those guys and give them
Right.
a little bit of a rest.
And if he's actually coming into some game shape and he's on the field with those, you can rush 4 and still get to the quarterback.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That
Yeah.
helps out your defensive backs and everything else, especially when you got to come up against a guy like Lamar Jackson, which you told you got to play Baltimore.
That's going to be tough.
How do you
That's going to be
slow
the
that
big
guy
game.
down. You can't stop him.
That's going to be the
Slow
big
him
game.
down.
That'll be the
That
big
could
game.
be actually for the AFC.
It could be for the number 1 seed.
Yep.
Yeah.
See what
That's like I
Kansas
told
City
everybody. I
does.
said the Dolphins, they run the table. They've got it. Because I think the Chiefs will lose at least one more game. And I think Jacksonville's definitely going to lose a game. So, because right now, Miami stands in number 4.
That's a team that I really like, though. Jacksonville.
Jacksonville, I know.
It's a weak division. No,
Yeah.
Very weak
ifs and
division.
buts about it.
Look at Houston, though.
Houston is a decent team and everything else. They'll surprise you. Hopefully, you don't have them on your schedule. You don't. The
No,
Dolphins
we don't.
Or any playoff team, possibly.
Don't say it.
Pittsburgh.
Don't say it.
But Jacksonville made the playoffs last year and came from behind impressively and won a playoff game.
And-
Now
and
their
beat the
goal
Chargers.
is to at least win 2 playoff games, or maybe 3. Maybe let's get a run. And that's a team to watch out for. I'm telling you right now,
They are.
Peterson over there doing the coaching has now got Lawrence doing what he's supposed to be doing, just controlling games and doing what they have to do to win. The defense is decent.
Is it so much Trevor Lawrence, or does that team really rely on Travis Etienne?
I think that team is a full team all around. They might rely both with Lawrence and your boy over there, but the defense, people don't talk about that D, and that
I
D
know
is
they don't.
actually playing well.
They don't.
It's a tough team. I wouldn't want to be seeing them now until the end of the year, and I wouldn't want to see them in the playoffs.
Well, I don't think, and I say it every week, but it's not because I'm a Dolphin fan, but they are doing good this year. I didn't realize from week 5 through this past week, the Dolphins number 1 defense in the National Football League.
Really?
Through
Wow.
those weeks.
Ooh, that's
Oh, wow.
keep it going.
Really?
keep it
Yeah.
going.
Yeah.
You know,
But like I
you
said, losing Jalen Phillips, that hurts. That hurts a
big
lot.
time.
That hurts a lot. While we're on the subject somewhat of injuries, is it just me, or are we seeing a lot more injuries this year than in past years? I mean, how many Achilles have we seen get torn this year?
That one's a brutal one. And I think the thing is, we're seeing a lot of stars and a lot of big names also going down.
I think that brings a lot more focus onto it as well.
Absolutely. And injuries play a whole part. You got, 17 games now. You've got 3 or 4 months of football. The body takes a beating. Some guys get lucky, some don't. Superstars go down like Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. It's a tough injury and whatnot. But, for the most part, injuries play a part of it.
I feel
And
like they're targeting people. I feel
Well,
Well, we
like
can talk about targeting
Ooh.
also. I mean, you're talking about players are talking about, I don't know. I've been taught since, I was this tall on how to play this game, how to play defense, how to tackle somebody. And now all of a sudden I'm getting fined because of a play that I made. How, and they're asking the
every year
National
the
Football
rules
League,
are
how do I
completely
do this?
different.
It was the
Yeah,
player for the
it's-
Who's the player that just got suspended? Denver's player that just got suspended for 4 games
Yeah, that's
for a helmet-to-helmet hit. He was
it's-
leading with his shoulder, and the runner lowered his
turns.
head,
Yes,
and it ended up being helmet-to-helmet, and they just suspended him for 4 games.
I think he'll go. They put out the 4. I think you'll see it get cut to 2.
They already cut it to 2 once before,
Yeah, it's. I mean,
and he's suspended without pay.
that's tough. That's real tough.
So,
you know,
it's like Pat Kerwin said, this guy's eventually is going to have to pay to play this game.
yeah, right.
So I think the NFL and Pat also said this. He said he was talking to somebody that was a general manager in the front office of some team, and he said, "Hey, look," he said, "if the NFL turns around and gives your guys a belt with flags on it, retire and come up here into the booth and do radio with us."
Classic. Let me tell you.
Well, Pat Kerwin, he's one of the best. He's been a
Yes.
scout. He's been a GM. He's been a coach.
Knows the game
He's-
quite well.
He knows the game very, very well.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, and here's a plug for you, Pat. If you guys really, really want to understand the game of football, and I'll bring the book in next week, you got to get Pat's book. It's called Take Your Eye Off the Ball. Because most fans, they just follow the ball. You need to watch what's going on up front. And it actually
That's
it starts with
true.
personnel.
Yeah.
Are they in a 21? Are they in 2020? Are they in 22? Are they in a 12 personnel? You got to understand the personnel because that is what sets up the entire play. Once you understand the personnel, then you really start to understand the game and the flow of the game and what these coaches are going back and forth with in their chess match, offense and defense.
It's like you say, it's with the personnel, you got to turn around and see what you got on the field and what you're going up against. Great example of using it as a chess game and see which direction you can kind of go or what you can squeeze or what you can get by. And then again, we talked just now, injuries. So I can't go with this full blitz because I don't have the defensive backs,
Right.
or I can't go with the blitz because I don't have a guy that can blitz.
Yeah.
And there's so many things as far as on the defensive side. Then you got slant patterns and everything else that you're rolling with the offense. And where do you go from there?
Well,
I just lost my best running back. I just lost my wide receiver. I lost my offensive tackle. Holy cannoli. There's a huge one. And what you got on the offensive line? Can I run these plays? No, 2 of these guys can't block.
Oh, yeah.
No, I mean, they can't open up holes.
Injuries
So,
play so much in
it's
how you
huge.
game plan. And
Huge.
if you're losing one guy that you're relying on for his ability and you want to run to his side, or or a defensive player that you want to run away from, but now he's not in the game, you're running to that side because you can gain yardage, or you got their best defensive back. He's injured. He's out. Now who are you picking on? You're picking on the rookie.
Yep.
You're picking on the backup.
Yep.
And that's when you hear this all the time. All of these teams, they talk about next man up.
and
because that's what you
Belichick
gotta
used
have.
to do that very well. But we don't have no man coming up and whatnot. Well, I'll give you a quick update.
Pinch.
Yep, there we go. The
And we're not
Cowboys,
talking Johnny.
We got a barn burner going here, folks. And it's 28-27. Dallas is down by 1. They need this game. So does Seattle, though, for that
Seattle
matter,
needs
because
this for the
San
playoffs.
Fran's getting. And
they
guess
really
what, folks? It's flying over.
Yeah, Seattle definitely needs this game. They need it for the playoffs. And we're going to talk about some of the games coming up this week. Before I get into talking about my matchups, are there any games on your minds that come to mind that you think are big games? I know you're thinking about.
only have one coming up. What do you have this weekend?
We have Arizona on Sunday.
And is that a home game for you?
No, that's
Green
Green Valley High
High school.
For her.
I'm not. I think we're home. I'm not positive, but
I believe the Steelers are at home.
They are at home. Yes.
2 in a row.
7-4 Steelers against the 2-10
be
Arizona
there.
Cardinals. That's the Steelers are going to win that game. If the Steelers lose that game,
that's pathetic. But
they deserve to be out of the
ugh.
playoffs.
Well,
We do bad in games where people expect where it's no problem.
do you
Like,
know how the Steelers lose that game? They look ahead to the Patriots on Thursday night
Oh, I
football.
know. We're
Hey,
just-
guess what? They lose 2 in a row. The Steelers been
Patriots are coming up.
2 and 10 teams. Oh my goodness. That's the NFL. And
You know,
you give
speaking
it
of,
Sunday.
speaking
Are you
of
thinking
Thursday
about
night
Al
games,
Pacino.
Are you thinking about your team this week? Who do you guys play?
I think we have a bye.
No, you don't. You already had your bye. You came in your gear on your bye week.
Bye,
That's
bye,
right.
bye. I'm
Yeah.
you
doing
have a bye.
pretty
Yeah. Now you have the
That's
Chargers
insane.
at
Oh,
home.
that's
So you have the
right.
4-7
That's
Chargers
the-
coming into New England.
Yeah, the Chargers will take care of business
They
in
should.
New England
Oh,
because
no.
we're looking ahead to Pittsburgh.
You're
should.
so, oh my god. Like I'm scared you know you said it, right?
All right. I want to ask you, I forgot to ask this question earlier. We just had the first ever Black Friday game, the history of the National Football
Yeah,
League.
I couldn't even
Did you
believe
like
that.
it? Do you like the fact that they're playing a game on a Friday?
I mean, I was here working, so I enjoyed it because it gave me something to watch. So I enjoyed it.
Well, once again, Brad, we'll go. Sunday football, Monday night, Thursday night, Sunday, Monday, Thursday,
And then now
Saturday
put the flex
games.
schedule.
They
in.
get the Saturday games coming in towards the holidays now. Why not a Friday?
I just think
They
of
would
all
love if they could ever have it. They would love to have the NFL go 8 days a week.
like
They
all
would-
the
they would.
guys that stayed home while their wives
players
and
are a
girlfriends were
different
shopping. I think
situation.
they enjoyed it.
Well, I think that's going to end up being something in the next CBA agreement. I think the players are going to say something about these Thursday
They,
night games.
they are going to say something that they have been, but the Shield makes money on it. So it's all about making money.
Well,
in
and then the
dimensions.
players want this, and this comes from the Shield
Right.
and those owners.
Yep.
So yeah,
So get used to it, folks. It's coming 7 days a week.
Here's a game early in the season. I'm not so sure. Well, actually, this does have playoff implications because Detroit is on the road this week at New Orleans. Detroit 8-3, New Orleans 5-6, still in the mix.
Still in the
Still in the
mix.
mix. Only one game out.
Still in the mix. Still looking, but no weather involved in this game because they go from
The
one
dome.
dome to another dome. And I think you'll see Detroit handle and take care of business. They've had a couple little hiccups in
They've
there
had a
in the
couple of weeks
season.
that were just kind of like,
But
nah,
you know,
Detroit
I
football.
don't think Mr. Carr that left here and headed that way, and the New Orleans Saints can have enough to hold off
Speaking
Detroit.
of which, and I know this is completely off topic, and I've been on the road, haven't been paying that much attention. Somebody told me this afternoon and walked in here, we had another Raiders player just got arrested for drunken driving.
Boy,
Yep.
Who was it?
I can't remember the name. It was the night before their game, though. It was like Saturday.
I'm
I
drawing a
can't
blank
remember.
on his name. Also,
I think they dropped him, though. I believe
then
I
I'm
saw
sure
that.
they did,
that
if
They
it's-
dropped him.
We'll have to-
What
I'll-
kills me with this, Brad, and it doesn't matter who it is. Some guys have the knowledge, and you're making plenty of money. The NFL will put out there, we will come and pick you up.
Yes.
We will give you
Yeah,
rides.
they have the
It's just
money
like
for real.
Uber,
Uber
only the
and Lyft.
NFL Uber.
And I'm sure you're an NFL player. Tell somebody, hey, can you give me a ride home?
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, you know, I know
Yeah,
you,
that
they
sounds
all have
crazy.
beautiful cars. They all like to drive them. Drive them when you're sober.
Yeah.
When you're out there and you're popped, you're drinking.
As
and
soon as
everything
you've had one
you're
drink,
gonna
toss your
get
keys to the
popped.
bartender.
You're gonna get
They're
popped.
offered free rides. There's no excuse. No
Especially if they're
excuse.
doing silly things. But they are young people. They are young
They are.
guys, and you got to live and learn.
But it
So,
ruins lives. Look
they-
at Henry
oh,
Ruggs
boy,
III.
well,
It
yeah,
ruins your
that-
life.
A lot more than his own.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
that
yeah.
Poor family and everything else. So,
No,
especially here during
it's
the
a sad
holidays.
situation. So,
Yes.
hey guys, listen. Any, I don't care if you're any players that are watching this show. Just toss your keys to the bartender, take a lift, or you know, we had a program in South Florida many years ago, and they don't have it anymore. I think they should start it up again. All of the bars got together and they paid into this fund, and it was called the Save a Life program.
I remember.
If you had, that's right,
Yeah.
you're from South Florida, you remember this.
Yep.
If you'd had too much to drink, all you had to do is look at the bartender, or even the bartender could recommend to you, hey, give me your keys, we're gonna get you a ride. Didn't cost you any money
Oh, wow.
because the bars
Bars
paid
paid
for,
for it.
paid into this
Fantastic.
fund,
Yep.
and they would
Yeah.
call a taxi and you got a ride home for free.
Great. Yeah.
So
Moving,
I think we need to start that again.
Let's do
Save a
that
Life
here.
program. I think it would be
Yeah.
fantastic. Maybe we should get with Mr. Davis
Hey,
and say,
Why
hey,
not?
look, let's do this. Let's get the
Yeah.
National Football League to spearhead this thing. Let's do it, and it's for everybody, not just NFL players, but
I
anyone.
agree. It would maybe save a little face for the Shield, and if they can make a buck or two on it, they'll figure a way out.
Yeah, It's past as well. We had it like you.
Yeah.
We had it in South Florida,
It worked out well.
and it was a
did.
fantastic program. And I don't know if they
And it
don't have it
wasn't only
anymore.
for the NFL players.
No,
or
it's for
anybody else,
everybody.
for anybody.
If you went into a bar, you had too much to drink, you just tossed the keys to the bartender, and they
Wow.
got you over. They'd call a
That's
taxi,
so nice. Yeah.
and it didn't cost you a dime. So that helped them. You stay in their bar and you're drinking a little bit more and partying and having
Yeah.
fun, and nobody's
you
getting
get a
killed.
ride home. Yep.
Okay. So Detroit at New Orleans. I'm on Detroit. I think Detroit takes care of business this
You
week.
have any clue, or you just want to watch the Steelers?
I know a lot about football. I don't know. I'm a girl.
Okay,
I don't know
sunshine.
football. I'm going with
That's all
Detroit.
right. That's all right. We still love you.
All right.
Who you
Sorry,
going with?
Texan. Going with Detroit.
All right.
Detroit.
All right.
That's three of us for Detroit. And
Sorry, guys.
talking about New Orleans losing a game, we're all picking Detroit. It brings us to Atlanta at the New York Jets, and Atlanta 5-6 in that division, but they have the tiebreaker on New Orleans. So
Got a tough game because Atlanta is playing some decent ball, and they're a decent
They
team, but that Jet defense is awful tough, and you're not going to walk into New
But
York.
is that Jet defense starting to go, oh, crap, the offense can't do
They-
anything.
They
So
might be. They
throwing
might
it in.
be. I don't know who's playing quarterback this week for the
It's going to
Jets.
be Boyle again, Tim
Oh,
Boyle,
okay. Well, you know what?
unless Salah changes his mind.
The Jets, I think the Jets are finally figuring it out that they're going to become spoiler mode. But there's
That's
no
all they
quitting
are
that
at this
team.
point.
There's no quitting that team and everything else. And for Atlanta to go from indoors, nice weather, out to shitty New York, and whether it could be a rock'em sock'em low scoring game, because now
And
we
that
start
turf.
seeing those low scoring games, except for tonight, it's flying over. It might be a challenge for Atlanta. I'm going to edge a little bit for the Jets.
I think the Jets are going to
squeak
get this
another
one done.
out.
I really
too.
do. I think
Yeah.
the Jets are going to get this one done
Yeah.
somehow. And let me ask you this: Robert Saleh, Jets head coach, is he done? Has he lost that locker room?
No, I don't think so. Not yet. I think with the injury going down with Rodgers, and they've beaten a couple of teams that they surprisingly beat them. They beat this Dallas team.
Yeah.
They beat Buffalo. I think he's going to get one more year at least back to see if they come back healthy for next year. If Rodgers returns, they got some players. They got some talent. That defense is well talented. They got a hell of a wide receiver over there. Let's see what happens. I think he gets through this year, and it'll be back
We'll see what happens next year.
and see what happens. If they start off real slow or they go like 0-4 or 5, you might see a midseason boom.
Well, that
Hatchet
might be
fall.
that might be the midseason one next year.
Right.
Speaking of Robert Saleh, I didn't know this, but him and head coach for the Dolphins, Mike McDaniel, they are friends going back to I think 2007 when they were coming up through the coaching ranks. They're best friends off the field. But did you see? I'm telling you guys, Mike McDaniel, I love his sense of humor. Did you see him punking the New York Jets fans
No.
in the game on Sunday?
All right.
So get this. I wish we could show this, but we'd have copyright issues if we showed this video. But there's a video out there. You're gonna go look it up. It's out on YouTube or Twitter. You'll find it somewhere. Mike McDaniel. It was cold in New York, right?
Okay.
So he's over by the bench where the warmers are. And he's got the warmer. He's standing over there. And I guess the Jets fans started heckling. Hey, I guess you're cold, aren't you? And he's going, yeah, I'm cold. And he turns around. He's got his play sheet in front of him. And he went back to the sidelines. And then he turned right back around and goes, but I'm also winning. I love his sense of humor.
That's funny.
It was a good low key one for him because he ain't a big guy, you know.
No.
Talking smacking shit like that. But hey, guess what? He's right. They are winning. Winning
was
makes
so
you feel a whole lot warmer inside. You know what I mean?
That was the funniest
So
thing.
is that fireplace. Doesn't it, Julia?
Yeah.
It was a great comment though. It really was. I love it when he sticks it a little bit to the New York fans because
Oh, yeah.
they think they know it all.
Well, it was like in week 5, we had a reporter in Miami comes into the press conference and he's like, so, the team is through the first 5 weeks, you guys are number 1 in offensive yardage and scoring. And McDaniel goes, yeah, that's what we talked about all during the offseason was, being number 1 in offense through the first 5 weeks. And he goes,
There you go. I like the point that you made earlier that their defense is starting to show up.
That defense.
So
yeah.
that's huge, man.
But Phillips
because-
is going to losing. Phillips is going to hurt.
Yeah, it's gonna. You gotta, like you say, you gotta find the niche.
And you see the emotion of the game with these guys. I watched Hard Knocks last night, and they showed Jalen Phillips on the field, and I mean, he is crying, because you're out for the season, and he knew it immediately. He goes, "It felt like somebody stepped on my foot." And he said, then I kind of looked back and I noticed there's nobody there. And he says, I knew immediately it popped. And he was telling them when they're coming in, he goes, it popped. I heard it popped. I'm done. And all the guys on the team, they're like, no, man, it ain't. You're fine. You're fine. He said, no, it popped, bro. It popped. Why, bro? He's just, and then, in the locker room later on, he was crying on Dan Marino's shoulder and all this. It was just, so, these guys, they put everything they've got into playing this game.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not, for a lot of it's not just about the money. They want to go out there and play, and they want to be the best they can be, and they want to win a championship. So when you see that type of stuff happen, it's just it's horrible. So, all right, Jets. I say the Jets get it done this week against Atlanta.
Saying the Jets.
All right, so we're all three for
Yeah.
the Jets. All right, playoff implications in this game for one team: Indianapolis 6-5, at Tennessee 4-7. I see Indianapolis losing this game. I see the
Really?
Titans. I see the Titans actually. You're going to see a lot of King Henry running the ball.
King Henry looked really good last week, too, running
Yeah.
that pill. Game being in Tennessee and everything else, they would do nothing more than knock off their own divisions just so they don't make the playoffs either.
No.
I don't think Tennessee has a shot at getting into the playoffs, but they
No.
have a shot at winning this game. And I like the Titans at home.
I'm going with Indianapolis. Think
Wow.
Indianapolis will pull it out.
When
All
that
right.
team gets down there, it's a little chilly, Willie. Another indoor team going out in the winter time.
Okay.
And winter's right here.
Indianapolis,
Tomorrow, December
it is
1st,
not-
right?
It is. It's very cold in Indianapolis.
But they play indoors.
Okay,
Hello
but-
there.
It's always
teams,
easier playing
Rockford.
indoors. You don't have the wind.
It's like
you
the
don't have
Rockford
weather. You don't
Files
have nothing.
over here now. Come
Okay,
on
listen.
now.
I
Listen.
can pick Indianapolis to win if I want to. That's
You
who I
can
think is
pick-
going to win.
You
so
can pick your
just-
nose
you have
and your butt with
pick,
your
like-
steel and shield stands
Oh,
over there. But,
guy.
I think you're going to see the Colts. I think you're going to get that horseshoe with the luck is pouring in. It's just going to tip over, and all the luck's going to run right out of
It
it.
could.
While
I
King
don't know,
Henry just
like-
says,
I'm going to run the pill up your butt.
well, yeah,
Yep.
King Henry just says, yeah, look at my backside.
Yep.
All right. Here's one. I'm telling you the way. Well, we didn't have any expectations at the beginning of the year for Houston. D'Amico Ryan's coming in there, first year head coach. Houston didn't have anything. They didn't have a roster. They had so many problems with salary cap and no talent. D'Amico Ryan's first year head coach. They're 6-5, and they are hosting, surprisingly, the 6-5 Denver
the same. Yeah.
Broncos.
This is going to be a great game. I really do, because you've got a young bunch of guys down in Houston that are believing in themselves. At least to try to see if they can sneak in the air. Everybody wrote them off, and they're showing up. On the other hand, though, you have a Denver team that now is believing in Peyton's deal and everything else up there, Coach Peyton, and they're actually winning games, and they got a good defense. Don't kid yourself. That Denver defense is decent. If they get in the playoffs, they're going to stir up some trouble too. Just because of their defensive schemes and the way they play and hawk to the ball. And
Look at how they started out.
yeah.
And
you still
bam.
got an old man by, I'm not a believer in Wilson that much,
No.
but you know what?
Wilson's
He's-
lost a step. He's not
he-
the Seattle.
No,
quarterback.
he's not. But he has learned in the point to control the game and not try to go out and win the game when you're losing.
Which is what he
Yeah.
was trying to do last year.
Right.
In that
He had
debacle
nothing
with
there.
Nathaniel
This
Hackett.
defense is decent. This could be a really, really good game, and could come down to whoever has the ball last to win.
It
So
could very well.
I will. I'll give you a little prediction out there: 21-21. Whoever has the ball last
Wow.
wins.
Think it's going to overtime
Could
or a last second
depends
field
who's
goal?
kicking. If he shanks it right or left, then Norwood might be out there for Buffalo.
Hey, this isn't Miami versus FSU.
no.
What do we have?
But
Wide
whoever-
right, two
whoever-
and then wide right.
Whoever
or
has
wide
the
left?
ball last has a shot for a winning field goal. that'll be a win, and that'll really catapult that particular team in towards making a playoff
Oh,
run.
I think if Houston wins this game, I agree with you. Whichever team wins this game, I think gets catapulted right into the playoffs,
At least heading right in the right way.
or at least has a shot at the playoffs going into the last week.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
I'm going with Denver. I'm not gonna do a score prediction, but I think
I can't do a
Denver's
score
gonna win.
prediction on this.
Yeah.
I'll agree with Floody though. I think whichever team has the
Mhm.
ball last, and if it goes into overtime, I think it's whichever team wins the coin toss.
Might be right on that.
Okay. As a matter of fact, you just flip the coin. Whoever
That's
wins,
where has the ball
call it
last.
for them. All right, now we've got some really interesting games. I'm not going to cover Cleveland. Well, actually, we'll talk about Cleveland and the Chargers. That's in.
Are you
LA.
sure? Wait.
No,
It's
the
going to be
Rams,
Cleveland and the
right?
Rams.
It's
Oh,
The
it is the
Chargers
Rams.
are at New
It is the Rams. Is right. They're right. I'm looking at. I get those logos. Those logos are so, especially the little
Right,
teeny
yeah.
tiny little things. So you got the Rams hosting the Browns. Browns are 7-4. Rams 5-6.
Home field advantage a little bit to the Rams, and Cleveland's got to travel.
Well, and they're
I still
missing.
I still like
both
that
quarterbacks.
Cleveland defense and everything else. A coin toss on this one.
Yeah,
really,
I'd
to
say
be
it's coin
honest
toss
with you.
also.
Whoever happens to be playing
Cleveland
better
needs
ball
this
and
game
doesn't-
more though than the Rams.
Absolutely.
Obviously.
I agree 100% with you. Can they win it though on the road with all their injuries they're going through and everything else? And the Rams just, they're kind of mediocre this year.
Yeah.
Sometimes they look like they're really good and they play you tough and everything else. And next time
They're like I don't want to say they're like the cardiac kids. You just never.
you don't know what you're going
You
to get.
never
till
know what you're gonna
till
get.
That comes
Yeah.
out. and
I
everything
think
else.
Cleveland's gonna win that game. I'm going with Cleveland.
I think Cleveland wins this game also, just because I don't think the Rams have enough talent to overcome that Cleveland defense. Cleveland is hurting on the offensive side of the ball and losing Chubb and both of their top two quarterbacks. I think the defense.
Hear me out on this one. That's the only thing that really bothers me is if the Rams can score and they show they get some offensive punch. The Rams scored 21 points, 3 touchdowns. I don't know if Cleveland can get there.
That
on
is,
their
you got a
offense.
good point there.
The defense might hold the Rams to 21 points at home or 17 points at home.
Is
But
it
can
going
the
to be
Cleveland
enough?
offense get enough points to beat a 17
It's a good
points
point.
they've given up?
You
And
going to
17
take the
points
Rams
is
in this
not a
game?
lot in this game. I'm going to stay neutral on it. It's just a tough game on it and everything else. I know it means a lot more, like we said, for the Brownies, but don't be surprised if the Rams pull a spoil just because.
So this is obviously a
Browns
game
can't
that Flooding
score
is
enough.
not going to go to the
No,
sports
no,
book because
no,
you
no,
cannot
no,
walk
no.
up to the window and go, give me $50 on neutral.
And as a matter of fact, but I do have money on the Seattle Dallas game tonight, which Seattle is winning 35 to 27.
Wow, this is
in
amazing.
Dallas. Way to go, cowgirls.
And how much time do we have left in this? We just started the fourth quarter, 14 minutes and
Plenty of
17
time,
seconds.
plenty
Plenty
of
of time for
scoring,
the Cowgirls to come back and
flying
do
over.
something.
Yeah.
But
There's still a lot.
there's a game though I want to get to. And-
I know which one it is. I'm pretty sure.
All right,
It's the game of the week.
pretty much.
It's
What's
the
that?
most anticipated game
Yes.
because it is a rematch
Yes.
of last year's
Yes.
NFC championship.
Yes, he knows
And-
it. You don't even
but-
know, do you?
The fields are
I'm
switched.
more about AFC.
The field
Philadelphia
switched.
is the home team
correct.
with the high flying 49ers coming in.
The
fully
Niners
healthy.
are getting healthy, but here's the big bitch that's going on everywhere. How are the 10-1 Philadelphia Eagles at
Winning
home? No, an underdog. They are
That's
a
right.
2.5 point
And
underdog.
the Philly fans are
They are pissed. The Philly fans are pissed. The people are going crazy.
Uh-oh.
And the way I look at that, folks,
They'll set the cars, the
If I
town on
took-
fire.
here's one.
they'll do that anyway.
Here you go, Roman.
Sorry.
If I took 100 people and put them in a room and told the 8-3 49ers were going to the 10-1 Philadelphia Eagles, and the Niners had to give the Eagles points, 95 out of those 100 people I tell that to are going to take
I'm
Philadelphia
going
the
to take the
points.
Eagles.
I'm taking San Fran. And I'm
Whoa.
glad it's not an early game because I don't like those West Coast teams
That's the
going to the East
4:25
Coast.
p.m. game.
It's a little bit later.
Yeah,
I'm going to take the San Francisco
they get
49ers.
some rest.
A little bit of rest, coming off getting healthy.
And the thing is, the Eagles,
And
they're good. They're like you said, they're 10-1. But man,
We-
how have they won
we-
some of
we
those games?
talked a couple of weeks ago
Yes, we
before
did.
we went on Thanksgiving break.
There's no pictures.
And
on
we
the
talked.
scoreboard.
Hold on now. Hold on. We talked, and there was one game on the schedule that the Philadelphia Eagles circled, and it was the Kansas
This one.
City Chiefs.
That's right.
And they went into
And they
Kansas
won
City
that
a couple weeks. There's one game that the San Francisco 49ers have circled, and it's the Philadelphia Eagles.
They want that revenge because you
Yes,
lost
sir.
Purdy when they lose Purdy in the first quarter.
Yeah. They
And
had
it was over at that point.
Yes, correct.
Philadelphia
So they
just
want to
tee
go
off
in
on
there. They're getting healthy. They want to go in there and prove that they are just as good or better.
We
They
should
should
have
have
played
been
in the Super Bowl last year.
year. Correct. And that's a huge
Oh, it's a
spot
motivator.
right there.
That is a.
And
If
motivate
I'm
them.
Kyle Shanahan, I've had this game circled,
Yep.
and I got all the headlines up on our bulletin board this week, just
Right
going, hey, look at this, look at this, look at this.
I'm really looking forward to that.
This is going to be
game. It should
this is going to be
lot
a
of fun.
very very good game.
That's
And it's
the
going to be
biggest game you're
physical.
looking forward to.
All right,
What'd you say?
Shitberg over here.
Oh
And
my
Bill
God. What
just wanted
time
to
is
see
it
my
on? What time is
Steelers
it
and everything
on?
else. I'm telling you,
I'm
it's
going
gonna-
with the Eagles. Eagles are going to win.
I'm going San Fran. I
Stick
say it's going to be
with your-
like
Pennsylvania
21
teams,
21
yeah.
to 17
No,
San
it's
Francisco.
nothing to do
And I think Purdy is going to show Philadelphia what they missed last year. Purdy is pretty good.
with- He's pretty good.
You like that, huh?
Yeah, I do.
All right. You're going to use it next week when the Patriots are pretty good.
I'm not going to need to use it next week. I mean,
Take it
you're gonna be
easy.
like sitting here sweating on your podcast, like looking at the score behind you, like, oh my God, what's happening to me?
I hate to say it, but she's going to be the one sweating because it's going to be a low score and it's in Pittsburgh, New England. New England's team will
It's in
keep them in
Pittsburgh.
it, but you don't have a very good offense either. over there. And for
Kenny
some
Pickett's
reason-
just not.
For some
No, he
reason,
hasn't been doing
Belichick
They
good.
give it to
has
Najee
Tomlin's
Harris a
number.
lot.
Belichick
Harris
has
is
Tomlin's number. No matter whether they're both
Yeah.
good or they're both bad, or the Patriots winning Super Bowls and you're cleaning the toilet bowls.
I know. I'm
It's all good. Watch out. Mr.
Like,
Belichick has a scheme for your team, and we walk out of there
Mr.
13-9, 13-9,
are we up
and you're
to
going
the
to be over there.
coach's seat yet?
Boo, boo.
I think
I'll get you some
that gives me a great idea to tip the NFL upside down a little bit when it comes to draft order, so you don't have these teams that are like tanking, right? So you take the two worst. You take the two worst teams who would be number 1 and number 2 in the draft, and they have to play at the end of the season after the Super Bowl. They play in the toilet bowl, and the winner of that game gets the first draft choice.
That's, you know,
Ooh,
you're
that would be your
laughing.
team.
You're
Therefore,
actually laughing.
there's no tanking.
But you know what? Instead of doing it after the Super Bowl, the Pro Bowl
Before?
doesn't do it very well.
We'll do it in place of the Pro Bowl.
The guys that want to go to the Pro Bowl go. Those two teams, I wouldn't mind
Play in the
play
toilet
a
bowl.
Pro Bowl on the afternoon and play in the morning. So you got football,
There you go.
morning games, night games. It's not a bad idea. Those two teams keep their whole teams in place for one more week.
Right. Nobody's going to the
Although
Pro Bowl.
The only problem I see with it is both these two teams that are meeting up on in the playoffs. The playoffs are running another 3 more weeks or something. So maybe
They
you
need the
have
extra practice to play in the toilet bowl.
maybe you turn around. They're always looking for a game. You take the 2 worst teams and you let them play on that Thursday night.
Brought to you by Tidy Bowl.
Oh.
Tidy Bowl, toilet bowl.
Yeah, there you go.
Bloody, tidy toilet bowl.
It could very
And I know
well
our
be-
producer Roman is off camera, but Roman, what do you think of that idea? The toilet
could
bowl.
very
Don't
well
put on
be
your game.
Carolina versus New
New
England.
England. Yes. And the winner gets the number 1 draft choice. So you have something to play for. And you can't tank.
But now here's the other problem is that Carolina doesn't own that number 1 pick. Chicago does. So now what do you do? We'll figure this out. after
Chicago's
you-
coaching
I'm not
staff
concerned
goes
about
in
it, really.
Chicago's
Because
coaching
I'm not
staff
in
goes
the
in and
Tiny
coaches
Bowl
them.
challenge.
I don't know if
All
you
right.
all heard that one,
We're
but
running out of time. We got like 1 minute left, I
We
think,
got a
here or
minute left,
something.
Roman.
So we're gonna have to go. Let's real quick. Kansas City at Green Bay. Kansas City 8-3, Green Bay 5-6.
Casey.
KC. And then Cincinnati
Kansas City.
5-6 at the 8-3 Jacksonville Jaguars.
Jags.
All right.
Yeah,
All right.
I don't like them, but
And
the
you-
Jaguars.
You can take Philly. You stuck with that.
I'm going with Philly.
Yeah. Stuck
Angel,
with it.
thank you so much for
Pennsylvania
joining
crap.
us tonight. We had a great time with you. It was fun.
Co-host tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I have to work with you tomorrow. All right. Good thing I like you.
Buddy,
Next to the fire.
every week,
Uh,
fun.
Yes, excellent. And shout out to our boy Jesse. Sorry you couldn't
Yep,
make it tonight.
Jesse,
We
we'll
miss
see you
I
next
hope
week,
you're back
hopefully.
next week. God bless to all of you. Happy, safe holidays and
And Bill,
everything else.
Seahawks did it for you. I'm Brad Michaels, along with the gang. We will see you next week, right back here at Mad Maddie's 8100 West Sahara, Las Vegas, Nevada, for First and Mad. Good night. See you next week.
Right.
Yeah. Come on. Move rooms as such. Some would say that boy right there is touch. Do we maintain? Nah, not too much. Situation getting too hard to clutch. Yep, it feels like I'm falling and can't get up. I gotta hold my head, man, I can't give up. I realize in life this